November the 25th, 2023, 11:47 p.m. Kyiv, Ukraine. 75 Shahed 136 Kamikaze drones launched from Russian-controlled territory. Iranian design. Russian operation. Each drone costs approximately $20,000. Total investment, $1.5 million on target, Ukrainian capital. Objective, overwhelm air defense. Strike infrastructure. Create terror. Ukrainian air defense responds. Patriot missiles. NASAMS interceptors. Iris-T systems. Each missile costs $2 to $4 million. The mathematics are brutal. Defending against 75 targets costing $1.5 million total requires defensive expenditure exceeding $150 million if every interception uses premium missiles. By 6:23 a.m., Ukrainian air defense claims 72 drones destroyed, 3 penetrated defenses, limited damage, mission largely failed. But the cost-exchange ratio is catastrophic. Ukraine cannot sustain this mathematics long-term. Neither can any defender facing swarm attacks. This is MilFront. And what happened during those 7 hours over Kyiv isn't just about one night's air defense. It's about the fundamental economic problem modern warfare creates when cheap expendable weapons meet expensive defensive systems. The question isn't whether Ukrainian air defense can stop Shahed swarms. They demonstrably can. The question is whether they can afford to keep stopping them. And what happens when the defender's missile inventory depletes faster than the attacker's drone inventory? The official Ukrainian statements emphasize success. 72 of 75 drones destroyed. Critical infrastructure protected. All true. But incomplete. Because each interception has cost. Each missile fired is one fewer available tomorrow. And Russia has demonstrated willingness to launch these attacks repeatedly. Nightly. For weeks. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains this strategic dilemma, the mathematics that makes defending against cheap swarms economically unsustainable, is going to change how you think about modern air defense, and why technology alone can't solve problems that are fundamentally economic. Let's establish what Shahed 136 actually is, why it's effective despite being cheap and slow. Shahed 136, Iranian design, also called Shahed 2 in Russian service, development 2010s, mass production 2020s, transferred to Russia 2022, estimated thousands delivered, simple design, commercially available components, basic guidance, no sophistication, just functional, physical characteristics, delta wing, 3.5 meter wingspan, 200 kilogram total weight, 50 kilogram warhead, piston engine, propeller driven, maximum speed 185 km/h, slower than cars on highway. But speed isn't the point. The point is cost and numbers. Guidance, GPS GLONASS navigation, inertial backup, programs target coordinates before launch, autonomous flight, no real-time control needed, flies waypoint to waypoint, terminal approach to target, simple, reliable enough, not precision weapon, but accurate enough against large targets, range 2,000 plus kilometers claimed, actual combat radius probably 1,500 kilometers, sufficient to reach anywhere in Ukraine from Russian or Belarusian territory. Strategic level range for tactical weapon. Cost, estimated $20,000 to $50,000 per unit depending on component sourcing. Iran produces them cheaply. Transfers to Russia at unknown price. But even at $50,000, economics favor attacker overwhelmingly against multi-million-dollar interceptors. Effectiveness, not individually threatening. Single Shahed 136 carries 50 kiloliter warhead, comparable to small bomb. Against hardened target, minimal damage. But 75 Shaheds create different problem. Not every target is hardened. Infrastructure, power grids, buildings, soft targets, and even hardened defenses can be saturated. The swarm concept isn't new, but implementation at this scale and persistence is novel. Russia launches these attacks repeatedly, creates sustained pressure on Ukrainian air defense, forces constant expenditure of interceptor missiles, tests inventory depth,
Probes for gaps in coverage. Now Ukrainian air defense. What systems must respond to this threat? Primary systems defending Kyiv, Patriot Pack 3, American, highly capable. Each interceptor approximately $4 million. Limited inventory. NASAMS, Norwegian American. Each AMRAAM missile approximately $1.2 million. Iris-T, German. Each missile approximately $430,000. Plus various shorter range systems. Jeopard anti-aircraft guns. Man-portable missiles.
Soviet-era systems. The layered defense concept. Long-range systems engage distant targets. Medium-range systems handle closer threats. Short-range systems provide point defense. Guns and machine guns engage very close targets. Ideally, assign appropriate weapon to appropriate threat. Don't waste Patriot on drone that Gepard can destroy. But reality complicates ideal. 75 targets. Multiple approach vectors. Limited time. Decision-making under pressure. Some drones must be engaged by premium systems because geographic or timing constraints prevent lower-cost options. The mathematics become brutal immediately. November 25th. The attack. What happened during 7 hours over Kyiv? 11:47 p.m. First Shaheds detected by Ukrainian early warning. Radar tracks multiple small, slow targets entering Ukrainian airspace. Characteristic signature. Speed. Altitude. Flight pattern. Identified as Shahed 136. Count. Initial estimate 60 plus. Revised upward as more launch. The drones approach from multiple directions. Northeast, east, south. Not single axis. Distributed launch points. Forces Ukrainian air defense to defend entire perimeter. Can't concentrate defenses on single approach vector. Must maintain 360-degree coverage. Ukrainian air defense activates. Command centers coordinate response. Assign targets to appropriate systems. Calculate intercept geometry. Launch sequences planned. Prioritize targets threatening most critical infrastructure. 12:15 a.m. First interceptions. NASAMS engages Shaheds at 70+ kilometers range. AMRAAM missiles. Multiple launches. Confirmed hits. First wave degraded. But more drones continue approach. The swarm is deep. Not all targets visible simultaneously. Some fly low. Use terrain masking. Appear on radar intermittently. This matters. Targeting drones isn't like targeting aircraft. Aircraft fly predictable profiles. Maintain altitude. Can be tracked continuously. Drones can fly very low. 50-100 meters altitude. Terrain blocks radar. They disappear and reappear. Makes continuous tracking difficult. Complicates intercept solutions. 12:45 a.m. Additional waves. More Shaheds appear. Ukrainian air defense continues engagement. Patriot systems engage. High-value interceptors against low-value targets. But geometry requires it. Some drones approach critical sites. Power infrastructure. Government buildings. Can't risk penetration. Must engage with available systems. The cost calculation is happening in real time. Each Patriot launch, $4 million. Each NASAMS launch, $1.2 million. Or each Iris-T launch, $430,000. Adding up, approaching $50 million in expenditures, against $1.5 million in attacking weapons. The mathematics are brutal, but alternative is unacceptable. Must defend. 1:30 a.m. Pattern emerges. Shaheds concentrate on specific sectors. Some are decoys, flying toward less critical areas, drawing fire, while others target actual objectives. Classic saturation tactic. Make defender choose. Engage everything and deplete missiles, or let some through and risk strikes on critical infrastructure. Ukrainian air defense adapts. Prioritize targets by trajectory. Drones heading toward critical sites. Engage with premium systems. Drones heading toward lower value areas. Engage with guns, short-range missiles, or let through to areas where civilian risk is minimal. Triage decision-making. Not ideal. but necessary given constraints. 2:15 a.m. Approximately 40 Shaheds destroyed, 35 remain. Ukrainian air defense expenditure already exceeds 60 million in interceptor missiles. The attack continues. More drones keep appearing. Is this 75 total? Or more? Fog of war. Uncertainty. Must continue engagement. Gepard anti-aircraft guns prove effective. 35 mm cannons. Radar guided. Each engagement costs hundreds of dollars in ammunition versus millions for missiles. Multiple Shaheds destroyed by gun systems, but Gepards have range limitations, only effective within 4 or 5 kilometers. Must wait for drones to close. Accept risk of penetration. 3 AM. Turning point. Majority of Shaheds destroyed, but rate of new detections increases. Either most drones engaged, or some outside defense. Waiting. Timing time approach when defenses are depleted. Ukrainian air defense commanders facing challenges. Maintain high alert. Ukrainian systems active. Continue expending expensive missiles. Or reduce readiness, accept some risk, preserve inventory for tomorrow's attack. Because tomorrow will bring another attack. And the next night. Russia has demonstrated this pattern. 4:09 a.m. Final wave. Remaining Shaheds make terminal approaches. Scattered attacks. No longer concentrated swarm. Individual drones. Ukrainian air defense engages. Mix of systems. Some with missiles. Some with guns. Cost effectiveness improves as remaining targets are handled by cheaper systems. But 3 drones penetrate. 1 hits power substation. Limited damage. Repairs completed within hours. 1 hits empty building. Minimal impact. 1 crashes in field. Malfunction or Ukrainian electronic warfare. Result is same. Destroyed but caused no damage. 6:23 a.m. Attack ends. 72 confirmed Shahed destructions. 3 penetrations. Damage assessment. Minimal. Strategic objectives denied. Russian attack failed to achieve significant infrastructure damage. Failed to create mass terror. Failed to overwhelm defense completely. Ukrainian success. But at tremendous cost. Estimated expenditure 80 or 100 million in interceptor missiles. Against 1.5 million in attacking drones. The cost-exchange ratio is 50.1 or worse. Mathematically unsustainable. Cannot continue indefinitely. Now the strategic analysis. Why this matters beyond one night. November 25th demonstrates fundamental problem in modern air defense. Cheap expendable weapons create economic warfare against expensive defensive systems. The attacker can afford to lose 95% of drones if those losses cost the defender 50 times more than the attack costs. Russia isn't trying to overwhelm Ukrainian air defense in single night. Strategy is attrition. Launch 50-100 drones nightly. Force Ukraine to expend interceptors. Deplete inventory faster than Western partners can replenish. Eventually, defenses degrade not through technological defeat, but through economic exhaustion. Ukrainian adaptation is necessary. Cannot continue using 3 million missiles against $20,000 drones. Must develop cost-effective solutions. More gun systems. Electronic warfare. Lower cost interceptors. Anything that improves cost-exchange ratio. But adaptation takes time. Gepards are effective but limited quantity. Electronic warfare works sometimes but not reliably. Lower cost missiles exist but aren't available in sufficient quantities. The gap between problem and solution creates vulnerability. Western partners recognize this, developing solutions. But development and production and delivery take years. Meanwhile, attacks continue. Nightly, the attrition warfare proceeds. Ukraine wins tactically each night, but strategically bleeds interceptor inventory toward unsustainable levels. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. How do you stop cheap threats with expensive solutions? Short answer, you can't. Not sustainably. Must develop cheaper countermeasures. Guns.
Electronic.
Anything that improves cost-exchange ratio towards sustainable levels. Using 3 million missiles against 20,000 drones leads inevitably to defenders' economic exhaustion. The mathematics guarantee it. Can Ukrainian air defense sustain this pace? Not indefinitely. Current interception rate is excellent, 95% plus success, but at unsustainable cost. Western missile. Deliveries help but don't solve fundamental economics. Eventually something must change. Either attack tempo decreases, or defense costs decrease, or infrastructure accepts more damage. All three are bad options. But one becomes necessary if current pattern continues. What happens when defenders' missiles deplete? Gradual degradation, not sudden collapse. As interceptor inventory decreases, prioritization becomes stricter. Critical sites remain protected. Less critical sites accept higher risk. Damage increases incrementally. Infrastructure degradation, economic disruption, psychological impact. Not catastrophic, but cumulative. That's the strategic goal of swarm attacks. Not overwhelming victory, steady attrition. The lesson from November 25th isn't that expensive air defense doesn't work. It works excellently. 72 of 75 drones destroyed. That's 96% effectiveness. The lesson is that effectiveness alone isn't sufficient. Cost effectiveness matters. Against swarm attacks, economic warfare is strategic warfare. Russia understands this, continues launching Shaheds nightly, expecting gradual attrition of Ukrainian defensive capacity through economic exhaustion. The strategy is patient, brutal, effective within its limited scope. Ukrainian response must be multi-layered. Improve cheaper interception methods.
Enhance electronic warfare. Harden critical infrastructure so damage from penetrating drones is minimal. Diversify air defense to include more cost-effective systems, all while maintaining high interception rate with existing premium systems. This is MilFront. We analyze the battles that change wars. And November 25th changed how we think about air defense economics. Technology can achieve near-perfect interception rates, but economic constraints limit sustainability. Future conflicts will increasingly feature cheap expendable weapons, specifically designed to exploit this vulnerability. The Shahed 136 isn't impressive weapon technically. Slow, loud, relatively easy to shoot down, but costs $20,000. Russia can produce or acquire thousands, launch them persistently, force defenders to expend millions. That's the innovation, not technological, economic, weaponizing cost symmetry. Ukrainian air defense continues adapting. Japan deployments increasing. Electronic warfare improving. Lower cost missile options being developed and delivered. But adaptation races against attrition. Can solutions arrive before interceptor inventory becomes critically depleted? Unknown. The math suggests urgency. Subscribe to MilFront.
Because in modern warfare, economic sustainability often matters more than tactical effectiveness. You can win every engagement and still lose the campaign if the cost of winning is unsustainable. November the 25th demonstrated this principle clearly. 75 drones, 72 destroyed, 3 penetrated, minimal damage, tactical victory, strategic concern, because tomorrow brings another attack, and the next night, and the next. The mathematics don't change. Defender spends millions, attacker spends thousands. Eventually numbers force adaptation or acceptance of degradation. If you think current air defense economics are sustainable, type MilFront in the comments. If you think swarm attacks represent future of warfare, tell me what counters them cost effectively. Because this isn't sole problem. Every military faces this. Cheap expendable threats against expensive defensive systems. The math favors attacker until defender adapts. For now, Ukrainian air defense holds. Protects cities, defeats attacks, but at tremendous cost. That cost accumulates, compounds, eventually forces change, either in defense posture or in acceptance of damage. The strategic calculation continues, nightly,
over Kyiv and every defended city. Real battles, real tactics, real consequences. Stay informed.